大致上都就緒㗎啦，因為我哋我用咗2個禮拜啦，咁就去即係組織個籌款晚宴啦，組織我哋啲即係literature 啊，咁同埋組織個 office 啦，咁啲義工啊咁啲 sign 字體都做咗啦，咁就亦都即係第一個 flyer 我哋就出咗嚟啦。咁跟住咧，仲有大約4個禮拜到啦，咁我諗就會出去家訪啦，咁有好幾個 debate 嘅。咁當然我每一個 debate 都會即係參加。禮拜1即係聽日咧有2個好重要嘅 debate，一個就係 Rogers， 咁就係佢係tape 嘅喺 New Market， 另一個咧就喺 Markham Town Centre 咧係會即係公開，咁就係 Markham Board of Trade 嘅。咁呢2個係大型嘅。嗱時間咧就係得6個禮拜咧，由我宣佈到即係競選。但其實我覺得咧我哋做得比較緊密啲都足夠嘅，因為 Region Council 嘅選舉咧同 Ward 有少少唔同。Ward 咧係即係大部分嘅候選人咧都希望能夠即係盡量拍晒啲門，就係 Region Council 冇可能拍晒啲門嘅。即係就算我上一次選咧，都即係我諗係拍都唔知夠唔夠20%啊！即係Region Council 啊。咁所以今次咧，我都會盡量出去拍。其實，但係 Regional Council 嘅即係重點咧，往往就放喺咧嗰個debate， 同埋咧係放喺個即係 advertisement flyer 嗰度。因為就算你拍門，你就算拍咗20%，咁根本拍門通常都會最少有一半人屋企嘅。咁所以即係你最多見到咧係10%，咁而因為即係市選嘅投票率通常都唔係好高嘅，咁所以個分別咧唔係太大。我個競選班底咧就其實大約係有15個人嘅，即係個 committee 有15個人啦。咁 volunteers 當然就唔止啦嚇。咁Eric Lee 就係我個 campaign manager 啦。我個助理 Juliana 係我嘅deputy campaign manager。咁Thomas 係 CFO。Jun Young 係deputy CFO 啦。David Ellison 咧，同埋另外一個叫 Chandra Kieran 嘅，佢哋就係policy。咁仲有好幾個係fundraiser 嘅，就譚北雄啦 ，Raymond 啦，Cynthia 啦，我表妹啦 ，Cynthia 啦，David Ho 啦，John Lau 啦，同埋係有5、6個係 fundraiser， 咁然後咧就係有即係負責 volunteers 就係Patrick Fun， 咁同埋Maggie 張，咁即係我即係大致上即係主要嘅人就係15個，咁即係據我所知，絕大部分的候選人都有接受公司的這個支持。我以前的競選也有接受這私人和公司的支持，所以我覺得，假如你說這個公司支持會可能有衝突的話，那私人的也是同樣會有這個可能性的。所以我覺得，只要我們把這個原則抓得緊一點，這公司的支持當然他們是沒有條件的。私人跟公司都是沒有條件的，我個人是覺得是問題不大。就講咗David Ellison 啦，同埋Chandra Kieran。Chandra 咧就係個印裔嘅，咁佢哋2個係負責policy。咁仲有咧Pam Roth 咧其實就係上2次我競選都有幫我手噶啦，咁佢就負責 research 嘅。咁Colin Smith 係即係黑人社區嘅，咁佢負責 communication 咁即係以華裔嘅較多，但係其實即係仲有好幾個咧。其實你睇到我啲 endorsement 咧，都會有好多非華裔。咁即係當然我哋明白咧，要選得好咧，要做競選做得好咧，係一定要係有各族裔嘅支持嘅。咁其實就算係我上2次競選咧，個班底都係有各族裔嘅代表。選區域議員咧，有超過1個華裔參選。唔單止唔會分薄票源，其實往往即係喺華裔選民嗰度做嘅宣傳咧，仲係壯大咗。即係好多時候，譬如華裔係想即係支持華裔候選人嘅，嗱咁當然佢要作自己嘅決定，即係話佢想即係認識多啲候選人嘅履歷啊，佢背景啊咁。但係因為多過1個華裔候選人咧，自然嗰個華裔嘅參與就會高咗。咁所以無論係喺即係私人方面，或者喺個社區方面咧，我覺得都係一件好事嘅。而尤其是因為區域議員咧係選4個位啊，咁 咁所以係即係如果佢哋喜歡可以選我或者 Jolie 或者兩個都得，咁所以就唔會需要被逼揀一個。競選咧，我通常就唔作預測嘅，所以即係因為競選每一次都係好劇烈嘅，即係嘅競爭，咁所以我自己只係希望咧，我能夠作為入選嘅其中一個，咁亦都祝阿 Jolie 好運。
好歡迎各位今日嚟臨參加黃志華議員競選約克區區議員嘅競選開幕禮。咁我咧就係李樹德，我就係今個競選嘅競選經理。咁喺我哋開始之前咧，我哋係請到Markham區第9區嘅關係同我哋主持呢個唱國歌嘅儀式。Okay, let's welcome David Harrison.
Hi everyone. We see so many people here today to support Tony Wong kick off his campaign. You know, I've known Tony Wong for many years. In fact, we both started our careers on council at the same time, and we sat next to each other. And it was then sitting next to Tony that I quickly realized that many of our beliefs and ideas were spot on similar. And since that time, we've remained good friends, and we're still friends to this day. Now, our town is about to undergo significant change. We really are at the crossroads in our history. There is a huge amount of development going to take place. A lot more people are going to be coming to our town over the next few years, and it's going to change. That's one thing we can all be absolutely certain of. There's going to be pressure on roads, on schools, on hospitals, on everything that makes life livable. And that is why we have to have real experience on council. Experience counts, and that's why we have to have Tony Wong back on council, and we all know that. Now, we share something else in common, and that is a friendship, a good friendship, with Frank Scarpetti. Frank Scarpetti will, with your support, be the next mayor of Markham. And Frank would really like to have been here today, but he has another commitment and is unable to break it. However, he's asked me to say a few words on his behalf, and I'll quote. He said, "I want to have Tony Wong sitting on council with me. I need to have Tony Wong sitting on council with me, and Markham needs Tony Wong sitting on council." And I think we all share that view.
All Tony Wong friends and the community members of City of Markham, I'm here to support Tony Wong. It's not because he is the Chinese, because he has done so much to the whole community of the City of Markham. Another reason I'm here to support Tony Wong is not because I've been knowing him for 8 years in the past. And that's because in the past 8 years, in the past 6 years, I've been involved with CICS as a director and president. So that I have a lot of opportunities to work with him. And I know I have a lot of opportunity meet all the levels of this Marxism market. So that allow me to know much deeper about how Tony Wong is serving us in Ontario and in the city of Markham. So I'm asking you to come out and vote for Tony, not only for a particular group, but for the whole city. So please allow me to say a few words in Chinese, since a lot of my friends here are Chinese. 各位朋友，各位Tony嘅朋友，我今日喺呢度咧，去大力支持Tony Wong咧，唔係因為佢係只係中國人，而係佢喺我哋個 community 入邊係做咗好多大量嘅工作，而令到呢個城市咧發展得非常之好。第二樣嘢，我支持佢亦唔係因為我認識咗Tony Wong 8年嘅時間，而係因為過去6年咧，我身為華之處嘅董事同埋會長，令我有好多機會咧同Tony Wong 係合作，而喺個社區入邊咧，我認識好多人係受到Tony Wong 嘅幫助嘅。你哋可能唔知道，你哋可能只係見到呢個單張上面Tony Wong 所做嘅嘢，為社區所做嘅貢獻。但係你哋可能知道私底下嘅好多嘢咧係冇講出嚟，而係咧係好受人感動嘅工作。你知唔知道？如果有一個細路仔佢讀書唔好，父母唔喺屋企，你知唔知Tony Wong同埋佢太太係不辭勞苦咁同佢哋揾個補習先生，要求個補習先生唔好收佢費用，或者好平嘅費用，去幫呢個細路仔補習。呢啲佢哋有冇公開出嚟咧？你亦有時間都睇見有啲社區有啲新移民或者舊嘅社區人士家庭嘅困難。佢哋暗底下幫咗佢幾多？你知唔知咧？阿黃太，我想更加講一講就係話，佢喺背後咧係支持佢先生好大好大。如果佢先生唔係真心去幫個社區，你以為佢會唔會影響到佢太太，影響埋個女一齊去做呢啲咁嘅義務嘅工作咧？肯定都唔會。咁所以我係希望咧，大家咧大力啲支持黃志華。成為呢一次我哋 Regional Councillor， 甚至乎係做到我哋嘅護士長，咁我哋會咧係為我哋嘅社區而驕傲嘅。咁呢度咧希望大家大力支持進行投票。多謝。
Thank you very much。我哋下一位嘅講者咧就係一個印裔嘅人士，佢就係喺多元文化嘅方面咧係好多貢獻嘅。
Thank you, Alex, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be given this opportunity to stand up over here to support my good friend Tony Wong. I think a lot has already been said, so I'll just try to make this very brief. I've had the distinct pleasure of working with Tony over the last many years. We worked together on the Markham Race Relations Committee, first of all, and that's where I was really impressed with Tony in terms of his dedication and his desire to make a difference in the community, and that's already been commented upon. And then as I got more involved with the Liberal Party, I've had an opportunity to work in various ways with Tony and other people on Liberal issues. And I continue to be very impressed with Tony in terms of what he has contributed. I am supporting Tony for not just because he's a friend of mine, but also because he characterizes the kind of representative that I feel we need on regional council. I've always been impressed by Tony's skills, Tony's knowledge, and Tony's experience. But besides all that, what I've also found is that he has a keen desire to serve his constituents. And he's one of the most effective listeners in terms of finding out from his constituents what they need and how he can really help them. And a true professional, who's always there for his constituents. So I feel that Tony would make a great representative for us again on Markham and York Region Council, and I urge you to work with all of us to support him as a candidate for Regional Council in Markham. Thank you, Tony. Thank you.
入屋區嘅主席，佢亦都係好支持啊黃志華律師嘅，佢就係Bill Fish先生。
Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. What an honor it is to be here at the food court. I love Chinese food, all the food that's around here, so it's always a pleasure to be here. You know, I see that Jack Keith's up there. Good, Jack, to see you. 9 years ago, I was elected chairman of the region of York, and I came from Markham. I was a regional councillor in Markham at that time. I ran in the election and was fortunate enough to win. And Tony Wong, of course, also ran in that election, but I think as a ward councillor, if I'm not mistaken. That's right. Well, shortly after I was elected, I was honored to be elected chairman of the region of York. And the rules are that if you're chairman of the region, you have to step down, right? I believe I just saw you a moment ago, and you have to step down from your office. And lo and behold, who took my spot? Who was elected by the council at that time to take my spot? Mr. Tony Wong. And Tony, that's right, give him a big hand. And Tony actually took the same seat that I sat in at Regional Council, the exact seat. And I can tell you that for 6 years, Tony had worked with me and our council in a very good way. Tony, as the previous speaker has said, is very knowledgeable. He's able to understand all of the issues and move forward on the issues that are of concern to him and were of concern to the town of Markham. So it was an honor for me, Tony, to work with you for the next 6-year period. And he did a great job on Regional Council, and no doubt will do a great job on Regional Council starting in December, I guess. Along with Khalid and Jack, I might say, I know will do a great job. And then 3 years ago, Tony surprised me a little bit by deciding to go for the provincial seat of the town of Markham. And we didn't want to see him go, to be honest with you. But at the same time, the 3 years that he spent at the province will really help us on Regional Council as well. His knowledge, his ability, his experience will really, I think, help all of us deal with the province of Ontario on so many issues that we have with the province. So from that perspective, I can tell you that Tony Wong will be, I expect, a very valuable member of our council. He'll be able to bring forward not only Markham's issues, but let us understand on council the issues at the provincial level as well, which are so important for all of us. So I'm here to tell you that Tony Wong was an excellent regional councillor, has been an excellent, I believe, MPP for the town of Markham, and if you give him your support in the next, I guess, 4 weeks from tomorrow, I know he'll be an excellent councillor as a regional councillor for the town of Markham. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for supporting Tony. I look forward to working with all the people who are elected, all 5 members from the town of Markham, and it will just be a pleasure to make sure that Markham and the rest of the region move forward and we maintain and continue to have great communities, great neighborhoods, and a great place to live. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Eric. And just in case if you don't know, Eric is my campaign manager. So he certainly is the main force behind the team. And I'm delighted to be here with quite a number of my former colleagues. Of course, Regional Chair Bill Fish. Yes, I stepped into his position when he left Markham and got elected as regional chair, and then I took his seat. Now, my next question is, when are you leaving the position of regional chair?
Not for a while.
I will be ready for it, probably. Now, kidding aside, of course, I have my good friends and former colleagues, Councillor Usman, former Councillor David Ellison, also a former chair of Markham Hydro, and Regional Councillor Jack Keith. And I want to start by saying that it really is a great pleasure for me to have this opportunity to come back and run for the office of Regional Councillor. There are many, many important issues, and of course I will not have enough time to talk about all of them, so I will pick maybe about 3 or 4 to kick off this campaign. Now, time after time, we know that transportation is the main issue for Markham residents. And yes, Regional Chair Fish, I still remember the days when we sat on Regional Council making decisions on YRT. And yes, it is now working. It will continue with phase 2, I know that. But in addition to improving YRT, we must also improve GO services, and that includes parking. I think many people have said to me and to many of the candidates that now when we move into York Region, we really want to drive our cars. But what I say to them is that we need to have enough people traveling on public transit, at least going to work and coming back, and we need to cut down on the number of cars on the road. How do we do that? And yes, we know that there are a number of concepts and new methods that have worked well, including HOV, high occupancy vehicle lanes, and traffic demand management situations when we can actually do it very well. Now, I would be remiss when I talk about traffic demand management not to introduce my good friend Keith Bray. Keith, please stand up and take a bow. The president of Markham Water Train. Thank you for coming. And Keith is instrumental in that concept. But above all, the most important thing in my mind to improve transportation and traffic in Markham and York Region is to be able to create and build a seamless public transit system as well as a network of roads across the GTA. No matter how well and how good York Region can perform and can produce, we must be able to work with other municipalities, including of course Toronto, Peel, Durham and Halton, to make this a totally integrated system. And I know that Regional Councillor Jack Heath and Regional Councillor 2B are with me. And I will be certainly working very hard, and timing is right because the province has just announced the creation of the GTTA, and it is critical in the next 2-3 years for Markham and York Region to be represented well and to get our voice heard in an effective way. The second important piece is, of course, environment. We have always prided ourselves in Markham as an excellent steward of the environment, but there's a lot more to be done. And I also know that in addition to keeping and building on the green space and agricultural land that we have, we must also put in place methodologies and policies to make sure that residents get clean water and air for many, many years to come. And this is not just for us, this is for our children and our grandchildren. Now, the third piece is something very dear to my heart, but which is also very important to go with the development of Markham. We've always believed that a balanced development is essential. We cannot stop people from coming into Markham or York Region, but what we can do is to make this a well-managed and balanced development. And what I mean by that is that we should certainly make sure that when there's new development, then we take care of the necessary infrastructures hopefully before the development takes place, and let growth pay for growth. I still remember that when the province, probably 6-7 years ago, scrapped the hospital component of the development charges, Regional Chair Fisher, I remember that we had to vote for a small tax increase at the region to make sure that we can participate in the provincial program, in the matching funding program for hospitals. And of course, if that had not been scrapped, then DCs would require developers to pay for growth, including hospitals and health services. In connection with that, economic development is the key to success of Markham. Markham has always been successful with high tech and many of the important corporations, of course notably the IBM Software Lab, Motorola, and many, many others. Now, we cannot be just happy with what has happened. We must be able to seek out more important and successful companies, many of them high-tech, to come into Markham to expand the tax base, because it's only by expanding the tax base that we can continue to keep our taxes low and offer good value for your money. But in addition to that, economic development also means a couple of other things to me, and that is to make sure that everyone can receive the training to achieve his or her greatest potential. And Markham has also been successful in an international way, because I still remember the days Councillor Usman and Councillor Keith, when we were successful in attracting the #1 science park, high-tech park in China, Wong and Chun, to set up its office in Markham, and thank you both for your support. And remember, David, you were on council as well at that time. We have recently established a strong relationship with the city of Wuhan in China, and there's no question in my mind that with the high proportion of Canadians of Chinese descent in Markham, that they can be very good bridges and effective ones in helping Markham to build and develop the international relationship in terms of economic development. So these are three of the important pieces of my platform, but if you would allow me, I want to say a few words in Chinese. 各位朋友，今日好開心咧，有咁多老友記同埋支持者咧嚟幫我咧即係競選嘅揭幕。我想同大家講一講咧，就係話其實我翻嚟萬錦市同埋約區競選咧，係因為我係好深深咁感到，亦都好多朋友同居民同我講，話萬錦市而家係面臨一個關鍵嘅時刻。關鍵嘅時刻，因為我哋將會係發展一個新嘅萬錦中心。即係新嘅市中心，而呢個係全北美洲裏面做過，即係話通常一個市中心就係一個市集開始，因為好多人去做買賣啊，好多人去即係聚集。但係而家萬錦嘅市中心係一個空地開始做，而當我哋發展呢個市中心嘅時候，其中有好多交通嘅問題、環保嘅問題同埋經濟發展嘅問題係急不容緩去解決。咁亦都係點解？我覺得如果我而家唔翻嚟競選，要等4年。係時間唔容許，我哋再等呢決定，未來呢4年嘅決定將會影響萬錦市20-30年嘅，所以我亦都好開心，即係我宣佈咗翻嚟之後，得到好多居民嘅支持。對萬錦嘅居民嚟講，其實有好多樣嘢都好重要，但係我唔能夠即係一咁樣同大家喺呢度分享。但係我相信咧，即係對絕大部分居民咧，交通係一個好重要嘅議題。因為well, I want to say that I was talking about gridlock, and then of course I think Regional Chair Bill Fish had that experience firsthand when he came in, and that is why that is absolutely essential that we solve that problem. 我正話講咗就係話我哋約克區嘅主席咧正話遲到咧，亦都因為塞車。咁塞車根本咧就唔淨止係一個唔方便，亦都係喺個經濟考慮裏邊咧有好大嘅負面嘅影響嘅。咁我哋知道。約克區同萬錦市唔能夠無限咁去擴闊嗰啲道路，因為我哋個歷史係唔容許我哋咧，即係將已經建築咗嘅地方，好似係起咗啊，或者起咗社區中心咧，去做即係加路。約克區同萬錦市咧，以前係一個住宅區，而咧佢哋係冇呢個城市規劃咧，好似多倫多咁多係小路、中路，即係除咗係大型嘅路咧。即係佢中間嘅即係中小型路係比較少，所以疏通交通係好大困難。即係點解我哋嘅高速嘅交通網絡，即係包括咗 YRT 同埋高咧，係對我哋好重要。咁我覺得咧，我哋要不斷咁改善佢。但係除此之外咧，我哋仲要用好多其他嘅計方法，好似譬如話將啲即係專線只係容許咧，即係超過1個人，即係除咗司機以外咧，最少有1個乘客先可以用嘅專線。而呢個即係喺萬錦市同多倫多咧。嘅經驗都係相當之有效嘅，而最重要咧，就係我哋一定咧要將全個大多市，唔係淨係萬錦市，唔係淨係約克區，係包括多倫多、係 Mississauga、Pickering 好多呢啲即係大多倫多即係 GTA 嘅城市咧，將佢做一個係無縫嘅網絡。因為我哋都知道，其實好多人翻工啊，或者係去即係娛樂啊，或者去探朋友，都唔係淨係話約克區就去約克區，多倫多就多倫多，而全個大多倫多全個 GT 咧，都係即係要有一個無縫嘅網絡，先能夠達到個好嘅成績。咁而最近省政府已經宣布咗係有呢個 GTTA， 即係全個大多嘅交通監管局。咁我相信個時刻咧係相當之重要。咁我哋都如果當選咧，會喺約克區政府咧同埋萬錦嘅市議會咧去推動呢樣嘢。嗱，第二樣嘢對華裔居民重要咧，就係除咗係環保、係 同埋咧係個發展之後咧，我想講講就係經濟發展。經濟發展對我嚟講咧係有3樣嘢嘅。第一就係話，即係我哋萬錦市喺高科技方面咧一向都做得好好，而咧幾年前咧相當之幸運，我哋亦都引進咗咧中關村喺萬錦市設咗咧全北美洲即係第2個第2個代表處，係全世界第4個代表處嘅。咁除此之外咧，最近咧萬錦市亦都同武漢市咧結為咗一個經濟合作伙伴。咁除咗即係經濟發展高科技方面啊，我哋覺得喺即係國際嘅經貿發展咧，萬錦市係絕對有機會同埋咧係有資格做得好。因為除咗正話講嗰2個例子，即係中關村同埋武漢市之外咧，我哋亦都有好多華裔居民，而啲華裔居民咧係有相當之濃厚同埋咧係重要嘅商業經驗。我哋知道同中國做生意唔係淨係話你識講國語或者係你淨係咧即係識個地理就得，而個商業文化係最重要。所以我覺得我哋有咁多華裔嘅居民咧，喺我哋做呢個國際經貿嘅發展嘅時候咧，係一定會做得相當之出色，而我亦都會咧喺嗰度盡力嘅。除此之外，我第3點咧就係話經濟發展其實有一個人嘅因素。我覺得要經濟發展做得好，喺萬錦市同約克區咧，一定要係人盡其才，物盡其用。我哋亦都有好大部分嘅新移民嚟咗萬錦市同約克區，而佢哋係有好好嘅經驗同埋好好嘅資歷。往往係因為佢哋冇第一份工作攞唔到加拿大經驗，或者佢哋嘅海外資格得唔到認許，咁所以令到佢哋咧係即係往往唔能夠一展所長。我係覺得即係我哋係應該再去發展啲新嘅計劃，而呢個萬錦市已經做過，就係話咧係同一啲僱主去配合去計劃咧一啲即係短期嘅即係安排，好似話譬如俾啲新移民咧即係1年嘅工作經驗，而由政府津貼佢薪水嘅一部分嘅。咁呢一類咁嘅計劃咧，係令到好多新移民能夠有第一份工，而當佢做1年之後咧，嗰啲僱主往往咧亦都好願意即係去繼續聘請佢哋，因為其實新移民咧即係除咗個商業文化同埋有啲時候個語言有少少不足之外咧，佢哋咧做工係好搏命㗎。我相信大家都知道係即係非常之勤奮，而且即係對於佢哋嘅經驗同埋履歷嚟講咧係不容置疑嘅。咁所以我覺得去幫佢哋唔係淨係幫佢哋，亦都係幫政府、幫萬錦市約克區嘅發展。呢個就係我覺得係人盡其才嘅重要。今日咧，因為我已經講咗好耐啦，咁我希望咧就大家如果有時間睇睇我嘅政綱。But before I finish, I want to welcome another good friend and former colleague, Councillor Joe Virgilio. Please to stand up and speak about who's just arrived. And it really is a great honor for me. There's so many good friends and former colleagues. So thank you so very much. Remember, November 13th, tonywong. Thank you again.
Holding a knife, I'm a little concerned.
Get closer.
Yeah, how are you? Okay, can you get closer? Okay.
Everyone there?
Are we balanced?
Don't.
Just do research and result.